Hello YouTube and welcome back to Supreme Commander 2. Kind of a special treat for you guys today. So recently, if you weren't aware, there was a tournament. There was a Supreme Commander 2 tournament. It was a 1v1 tournament for all skill levels. So we had some pretty skilled players in there. I'm going to be casting quite a few games from the tournament. There's a number of games that ended up being pretty fun and interesting. And if you want to see my perspective on the tournament, because I participated, I uploaded it as a live stream. I live streamed the entire event for my entire participation. Yes, I died a lot. Died a lot, but it was still a good fun tournament. So my most recent live stream as of uploading this video is that. That being said, today we do not have noobs playing. We have in the orange. Let's go ahead and resume the replay here so we can see what's going on. I've been told that this is probably one of the better replays in the whole thing. I have not spoiled I don't know exactly what happens, and I don't know who wins, so we're going in kind of blind. But I've been told that this 1v1 gets all the way to like experimental late game, which never happens. So this will be interesting. But we have two of the top players in the world here, in my opinion, going at it for this 1v1 tournament. Today, I just dropped my phone. I'm sure that came through on the recording. Best YouTuber, professional, truly. In the orange UEF, we have OSS Jaywix, or just Jaywix. Jaywix here, gonna go first air. And then over here in the blue Siren, we have none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Iron Commander, also going first air in the blue Siren. Yeah, I'm interested. We're gonna speed it up a little bit just to get through some of this early game stuff. I hate that I can't press F2 and show the score in a replay. It's unfortunate. I also did cast a few games during the tournament itself. Not many, like one or two. Ooh. Get the win on this. Very close. I did cast a couple games during the tournament itself, just in between my matches, but my rounds typically took longer than everyone else's, so I was often did not have time to cast new games because I'm bad. So yeah, so we're gonna be casting a few games here. We got a bit of an air fight here. They're fighting to see who's gonna get the early air superiority, and it looks like Jaywix is actually gonna take the lead here. Gonna get a good spin on these Siren Gemini fighter bombers. And yeah, he's gonna take the lead in the air game here. Iron Commander gonna be forced to build the anti-air turrets on his factories in order to even the odds up here, and indeed he is going to be able to do that. Going to take out a number of Jaywix's fighters here in exchange for his troubles, but Jaywix does still have air dominance now, and outside of this main base, there's not going to be a whole lot Iron Commander can do now, and he knows it. Going to take some time to build his air forces up, if I had to guess. In the meantime, it does mean that Jaywix can go in for Eagle Eye bombers here, and he's going to attempt to use these to take down Iron's engineers and prevent him from expanding. Very, very typical early game stuff here for high-level gameplay. Jaywix has expanded into 2 air and 1 land, whereas the Cyber Commander here, Mr. Iron Commander, is going to go 2 land, 1 air. So kind of the opposite builds here. Jaywix trying to capitalize on his victory in the air by building that second air factory so they can utilize these bombers. The bombers are going to be very effective against these loyalist groups, at least until adapters get built. Once adapters get built, that'll change. Not enough bombers here to one-tap or one-pass this anti-air tower, so he's going to pull away from that and avoid taking unnecessary losses. Very good. I'd like to see that. Now, despite the air dominance here, Iron Commander has been allowed to expand into the back lines, and is going to get an anti-air tower up back there as well. It's going to mean that it's going to be kind of difficult, honestly, for Jaywix to shut him out of his expansions. As it stands now, Iron Commander still has more mass under his control than Jaywix does, but Jaywix has a pretty large military advantage, I would say, just because of these bombers, making it very difficult for Iron to push out. We are going to see some loyalists getting made here, but yeah, he can't really go out with those. Pushing forward with these would just get them killed, almost certainly. And you have to know both of these commanders are going to be watching the radar like a hawk, looking for an opening to push in. You know, if Jaywix spots, actually doesn't have. You know what, Jaywix? I say that, but Jaywix doesn't have a forward radar. Oh no, wait, nope. Yes, he does. Okay, about to say. But if he sees any of these units push out by their lonesome, he's going to be waiting for an opportunity to jump on them with these bombers. Deal some good damage. He's also going to have UEF tanks coming in up now. So the position Jaywix finds himself in is that he no longer has to be afraid of the loyalist mobility, because typically UEF tanks should be winning the larger engagements with loyalists, because once you get to larger engagements, microing the units back and forth just means that the shots will hit a different unit instead of the one that fired at. So, like, in a group this size versus a similarly sized groups of Rockheads should be winning pretty much most of the time, I think. The danger is that, you know, he could split half of these off and go around while all your tanks are occupied in the middle and do pretty significant damage. But these bombers being here means that he can't do that until he invests into adapters or until he retakes air dominance with his own fighters. And it looks like Iron Commander is going to be giving up on complete air dominance for now. Not completely. He's built a second air factory in the back lines. He is stockpiling fighters, but he knows that he can't really push into it just yet. In the meantime, he's got more land factories down and is going pretty hard into the land forces here. All loyalists so far, but, you know, adapters are probably not far behind. Yep, there they are. So now with adapters coming out, these bombers are going to be much less of a threat. I would say, honestly, just these 4 adapters here is enough to shoo away a pretty sizable bomber force. This is no longer enough bombers here to be nearly as effective. And Jaywix is going to scout that. He knows that these are out. So, honestly, I'm trying to see how this is going to go late game, because I feel like this force here from Iron Commander should be plenty capable of shutting down this expansion. Ah, that's why. Jaywix knew this was going to happen this way, I think, and he has purchased the point defense upgrade for his mass extractors and as well as his research stations. He does not have the anti-air upgrade yet, and so, yeah. Wow, Iron Commander is going to immediately bring it back in the air game. Very much diving on top of these bombers here. Jaywix did not continue the production of fighters once he established initial air dominance, allowing Iron Commander, our Cybran hero here, to get back into it. He's going to take out pretty much all of these bombers, I have to imagine. Now the anti-air upgrade comes out for the mass extractors for our UEF player here. Jaywix is now going to be able to shut that down. It means both of them have locked the other out of air pretty effectively. Air is not going to be nearly as an effective tool anymore as it was in the early game. Going to come down to these land forces here, and Iron Commander pushing in pretty well, making good use of these Brackmans, forcing the heavy unit micro on the UEF tanks, using the bombers to get some extra damage here. But it's really going to come down to whether or not the land forces can make it happen. Iron has a pretty significant advantage, I would say, in terms of land units right now, just because of the Brackmans and the extra factories, but Jaywix is rapidly catching up in that regard. And these UAF Rockheads, once they get some upgrades on them, they are more than capable of going toe-to-toe with a force like this one. These Loyalists will not be enough beyond a certain point. Eventually, it takes a while, but eventually the Rockheads do better. Bombers coming in here for pass, going to take down a couple units. Rockheads finally getting to engage. Losing these factories Jump jet gonna save these loyalists. These loyalists were for sure gonna die to this many rockheads. The rockheads are all full health. Nothing they could do there in that regard. Let's slow it back down just a little bit. Action's starting to catch up here. More and more land factories coming out. Another pass taking 5, maybe 6 tanks out here. And these bombers, I said they weren't going to be effective anymore, but Iron Commander's making it happen. Same for Jaywix, getting some more kills for free here with these Eagle Eye bombers. But gonna actually, no, not get away with it. The Gemini fighters are gonna jump on this, take the opportunity to take most of these bombers out. Now there's only probably 4 sitting in that stack, maybe 5. Research stations being kind of used defensively here. The point defense on them proving to be an effective delay measure here. Not really enough to make all the difference in the world, not with this many land forces present, but enough to be annoying. Can slowly whittle some of this down, make it easier to deal with later. Looking to split the forces here, deal as much economic damage as it can, making use of those jump jets to just run around, avoid the enemy tanks. Movement speed ability for the Rockhead's going to allow them to catch these Loyalists and Brackmans out a little bit. But the jump jet is once again going to make that less of an issue. Anti are taking doing some damage here to these units as they jump jet around. This is pretty bad here. If there's enough Loyalists here to take all this out, yeah, and there is. They have pretty free reign to kill all this mass back here, as well as some of this energy, and this is the majority of Jaywix's energy production. Another force here, taking out more factories and expansions here. Demolisher mobile artillery is finally out for Jaywix. That's going to be a pretty significant advantage if he can get any of the shots to actually land, but the Demolisher artillery fires so high that it's actually really easy to micro around when there's only 1 or 2 of them out. Very minimal, yeah, no damage being suffered from the Demolishers so far. If it would only take 1 shell of the Demolishers to land in the middle of this group to make all the difference in the world, but it's just not going to be easy to make that happen. Bomber's going to clean up the Loyalists back here before they deal too much economic damage, but factories being shut down left, right, and center for Jaywix here. Mass Extractor's doing its absolute best to try and kill some of these units, but it's just not going to be enough. Trying to go for a counter push here and force Iron Commander into the defensive. He knows that he's been forced into an economic disadvantage here with how much he's lost from these raids, from the research, the factories, the mass extractors. So he's going to go for the counter push here with the Rockheads, but structure detonate plus the bomber support is going to make this an incredibly, yeah, there you go, very difficult push. Cybern's are always difficult to push as the other 2 factions with any standard ground units, just because of the structure detonate, making it difficult to get close enough to those units or structures to deal damage with all the units you have available. Plenty of Demolishers out now, though. Those Demolishers are going to be a force to be reckoned with. There's plenty of them out now to handle these structures at range without being at risk of the structure detonate. Also going to make it very incredibly dangerous for these Loyalists if not micro correctly. If they get bunched up in the wrong way and a swath of Demolisher rounds hits them square on, then it's going to just be over. The anti-air upgrade now out for the ground units on Jaywix's side. Going to mean that Loyalists are going to be taking extra damage, and it's also going to mean these fighter bombers are not going to be nearly as effective in their passes. It's going to be much less free than it was before. Still, though, more Loyalists attempting to push in here and shut down even more mass and expansion on Jaywix's side of the map. For more or less free, the armor upgrade, or armor ability, sorry, is going to be coming out. Going to mean that they take a lot less damage to these Demolishers, but still the Demolishers are very, very effective, especially when they're all firing at the same target like that. Any of those Demolisher rounds that hit are going to be devastating against these Loyalists, especially while they don't have shields. Power detonate, going to take out a pretty good number of tanks there. Probably some demolishers as well. But still, not quite enough to warrant pushing all the way in. Oh, this is going to be a big power detonate, though. Yep, there it goes. And then just like that, that entire land force of mostly demolishers, I think, was pretty well devastated. But Fat Boys are now out on the field, meaning that this is going to change the game once again. These Loyalists are not going to be able to get anything more than this done, but they have significantly reduced the forces available for Jaywix. Killed several factories, they've killed research, they've killed mass extractors. All of the mass, with the exception of this over here on the southeastern side of his base, has been rebuilt. And he is the first to get to experimentals. This puts Iron Commander in a slightly more defensive position, but with the jump jet ability, the Loyalists are still more than enough to get on top of these Fat Boys. The Fat Boys do not win the game by default here just because he's the first to get to him. Power detonate is incredibly devastating against the supporting forces, and the jump jets means that Loyalists can jump on top of Fat Boys without much issue. Fat Boy's going to be very good for doing harassment damage here, and also shooting down any stragglers or helping to wear down forces as they come in before they're able to jump jet in on top of the tanks. But they're going to have to be microed pretty well to avoid getting them killed for free. And in the meantime, Megaliths are soon to be out here for Iron Commander. I can only imagine that's what he's got going on back here. Iron Commander has been largely unharassed here for the most part. This section of his base has seen some damage, but nothing too serious. And Loyalists are going to absolutely tear this small harassing force of Rockheads to pieces. The Loyalists proving very, very effective here with the adapter support in dealing with these tank groups. The demolishers are nice, but it's just not been enough. The micro levels from Iron Commander are just so insane that the power detonate's always going to be nearly perfect. I'm gonna take out a mass extractor, but was it worth it for how many bombers he just lost? I'm really not sure. That being said, it would seem that, yeah, Iron has given up the air fight. The adapters being out now means that the bombers are no longer quite as effective. Neither player really over-investing much into air at this point, although Jaywix is still using a couple air factories to produce some bombers still. He never built more than those 2 air factories. And neither did Iron, but he's not using his anymore. He's most likely just preparing to get into Megaliths. We have more Fat Boys coming out here for Jaywix. He's going to start utilizing them to lay siege to some of these positions. We're going to immediately see a response, I imagine, from this land force. They're going to be thinking about whether or not they want to jump in on top of this. The power detonate here would still be pretty devastating against this many land units, but it means he wouldn't have anything left on this side of the map to deal with the Fat Boys. So he's got to decide how he wants to use his units here. He's using the adapter shields to take some of this incoming damage from the Fat Boy, reducing how effective they are even at range. No real losses taken by Iron yet, despite the experimental advantage of his opponent, just due to the adapter shields being utilized to greatly reduce and slow down the damage potential here. Very well done. These Megaliths up yet? No, but he has 4 factories nearly completed. One of them is done and already pumped out its first Megalith soon, here in a minute. He's got Soul Rippers. Wow. Soul Ripper is going to be very effective here against both the air forces, since it's mostly bombers, and against pretty much anything else that the UEF has to offer. Now, the anti-air upgrades being on all the mobile units as well as the buildings means that he can't really just send in a single Soul Ripper and expect it to do very much. I mean, just sending it into this area right here is likely to get it killed for free. But as a support unit, going in with land forces or Iron's own air forces, it will be pretty effective, using fighters to draw the anti-air fire while the Soul Ripper does all the damage. Attempting to get some damage done here with the Eagle Eye bombers, but it's just not enough. There's not very many bombers out, so they only brought this factory down to 2/3 health, it looks like. Fat Boy's finally dealing some damage here, starting to take down some of these forward factories, but No real losses sustained by the land forces yet, as far as I can tell, although that may soon change. Fat boys are enough to wear down the adapter shields here. King Cryptor's now out on the field. This is absolutely crazy for a 1v1 that we've gotten to this point. Raiding forces over here on the north side of the map, taking out the expansions left, right, and center for Iron Commander while he's forced to be busy dealing with this. He did not go Soul Rippers. He went Giant Transport. Why did he go Giant Transport? What's in there? A Monkey Lord. He loaded a Monkey Lord. Wow. Monkey Lord gonna absolutely lay waste to everything over here. Giant Transport gonna immediately be shred by the tank anti-air, but it doesn't matter. It did its job. It's gotten the Monkey Lord to the front line without taking any damage. Monkey Lord gonna start laying waste to some of these land forces here for pretty much free. They can't really even get close enough to him to deal much damage, although he is rapidly losing health from the points at which where he was engaged. Loyalist going to go in here for the power detonate. Going to get quite a few, but the Cryptor AoE is going to do massive amounts of damage to those bunched up units. Means that the the jump jet's not going to be nearly as effective, and these Loyalists are not nearly as upgraded as the tanks. They're going to use the armor upgrade, but against the Demolishers and the Cryptor, is it going to be enough? Megalith's now coming in behind this. Big losses for the small units coming in on both sides here. Coming down to the experimentals, but Jaywix has more units available, and his units are tougher. This Cryptor is doing the absolute most in shutting down all of these land units for free, but he's not been able to engage the Monkey Lord too much, and that's really what he needs to get on top of here. Monkey Lord going to win that 1v1 without some help, although he's going to kill a Megalith for his trouble. Yep, one Megalith goes down, the Cryptor goes down, deals a bunch of AoE splash damage to the Fat Boy with its death. And Iron Commander is going to come out on top of this battle between experimentals here, forcing Jaywix kind of onto the back foot. He's on the defensive again. He's got another Cryptor and another Fat Boy out. Going to attempt to hold this back here. Adapters on there for the shield support as well as the anti-air. Gonna try to absorb some of these Cryptor shots, I imagine, and delay the death of this Monkey Lord. If he can keep this Monkey Lord alive long enough for it to get vetted, that would be incredibly, incredibly strong. Once vetted, they get up to, I think, 200,000 health or so. Iron Commander's ACU up here on the front lines as well. I imagine he's got some upgrades on that. In the meantime, an absolute travesty has happened back here. I can't believe I missed it. A single land force of tanks, just basic tanks, has been able to sweep all the way through this back line, it looks like. Taking out most of the base here. I don't see any dead experimental wreckages, so it's just these tanks swept through the base and did monumental damage while he was having to micro against these land experimentals. That means that Iron Commander's base is now drastically reduced in size. His income's going to be drastically reduced. I'm not sure how much mass he has in storage, but who knows how long he'll be able to continue producing experimentals after taking that many losses. Forces now encroaching on him from both sides, but theoretically speaking, he does have the ability to win this engagement here. He's got two Megaliths, the Monkey Lord, as well as the Adapters coming in to help, and as long as he can take the engagement effectively, he can win this, but the Fat Boys and their range are going to make that pretty difficult. Jaywix absolutely commanding this match now. Yeah, with that raid coming through and just going to continue sweeping through the backlines for more or less free. Producing more giant transports for some reason. Maybe he's hoping he can find the enemy commander and jump on him with a transport push. But that's going to be a pretty tall ask, I think. Bombers coming in here, going to shut down the anti-air, and now they're going to be able to get in here for free. Tanks coming in here to speed this up a little bit, take out this mass in the back lines. Iron Commander has been pushed completely into the back foot here. He's balled up into a little section of his base here with just his commander and the few experimentals he's been able to produce. The Loyalists he's still able to bring out. He's got a bundle of engineers moving up here to the front line, looking to reclaim some free mass, I believe. Yep, they're gonna be able, just barely be able to suck up these experimental wreckages before the Fat Boys forced them to retreat here. I can only imagine Iron Commander is hoping that he can pull out long enough to force an engagement between the experimentals and win the engagement between the experimentals here, or use the giant transports to send his army into the backlines. Jaywix's commander, though, in the center of his base here, going to be a very tall order to get in and kill him for free like that. Jackhammer's now coming out, going to render all of this pretty moot. Not a whole lot you can do against that. Cicada mobile cloak generator. Hopefully going to provide some kind of an advantage here. These giant transports are just getting killed more or less for free. Do they have enough health to kill these tanks? Doesn't look like it. They're going to lose one. He's going to lose two. That's three. All the giant transports go down. In addition to these experimental factories, the tanks are still rampaging in the backline. The Monkey Lord forced to be pulled back here and deal with this. Monkey Lord bugging out and not able to shoot completely behind it. There we go. Now he's got it firing. Attempting to take the engagement here with his other Monkey Lord and the remaining forces he's got, but Iron Commander is going to be hard-pressed to pull back from this, I believe. What an incredible game this has been. Getting to the experimental late game in a 1v1 on a small map like this is almost unheard of. Monkey Lord doing absolute work every time it engages one of these small units. It just evaporates a swath of them. Taking out 3 and 4 units at a time with the little bit of AoE on that big, red, angry microwave laser. Fat Boy going down here. A Cryptor taking a ton of damage. Jackhammer's going to be a huge problem here, though. Once those shots start to land, they are just going to absolutely devastate everything they impact. The cloak generators forcing the engagement on themselves, though, meaning that it's difficult for them to engage these Monkey Lords. Monkey Lord are able to engage for free right now. AC-1000s are out, but there's still plenty of adapters out. They need to be careful. There they go. They're going to jump on top of the cicadas, bring them up to engage the rest of the enemy forces here. Cryptor goes down. Monkey Lord's doing a ton of work. The Iron's commander is up here on the front line. The anti-air is taking down these AC-1000s slowly but surely. Demolisher mobile artillery landing some beautiful shots onto these Monkey Lords here. Absolutely whittling away the HP. Iron Commander goes down in a blaze of glory on the front lines with his army. Manages to kill all of the enemy land experimentals as well as a wide swath of the land forces here for his troubles. And Jaywix is going to take that game. What an incredible replay that was. That was something to behold. Well done to both of the players here. Jaywix just able to bring it back. That raid into the backlines, even I was focused on the fight between the experimentals here, and imagine so was Iron, and there was just nothing he could do, nothing he could spare to deal with the tanks tearing through his back lines. Yeah, that one thing probably changed the game there, because I felt like Iron had an advantage with the Monkey Lord plays here, but ultimately Jaywix was able to bring it home. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will be uploading more of these replays from this same tournament in the very near future, so you guys can look forward to that, and we will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.